Right
Oh,
there
God.
in the
Road.
chamber.
She used to work there, she was the billing administrator.
Yeah.
Okay, she was in Melina's office before she
Why
retired.
did when you married
It's
Tom?
amazing.
From what? Is it from trucks?
Then I started going to steel,
Yeah, I mean, they're.
and battery operated.
All right, folks, let's go ahead and get this thing rolling, so we will call the meeting to order. I'm gonna start with, if everybody will stand, we'll do our moment of silence, and, we'll have our pledge right after. Thank you for that. We have Maddie Ballard is here to lead us in the pledge, so if you can come on up, 4-H member.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that.
Good.
Now, everybody bear with me tonight. I know congestion and sinus drainage and everything. You can see I brought some backup here. If it gets bad enough, I'm just gonna let Doug run with it. I tried to not talk so much at school today, but that was a little bit impossible. So, brings us down to our public input. We got anybody? Okay, no public input. And that takes us down to changes to the agenda, and I believe this is sitting on your all's table, the overnight field trip for the boys basketball needs to be added to the agenda. Is there any objection to adding that to the agenda? All right, then we'll consider that unanimous consent there. So then we need, a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I got Doug has moved to approve. Second?
So moved.
Danny second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approval of agenda, show by raising your right hand. All right, 6-4-0 against, motion passes. All right, brings us to consent agenda items, which that field trip fell under. A motion to approve consent agenda.
Motion to
I have Dawn with a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Coach with a second. Discussion? All right. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda items, show by raising your right hand. All right, 6-4-0 against, consent agenda items passed. That's gonna bring us down then to the policy committee, and I'll turn that over to Doug for reading of those.
All right, thank you very much. First of all of the policies that we're bringing for your consideration for first reading tonight were passed unanimously by the policy committee. So the first one we're going to be looking at is one that Coach asked us to take a look at. This has to do with changing our work and our business meeting agendas to include notification of contracts being renewed and standing and committee reports. After discussion at the policy committee, what we would like to do is, if you look at policy 1.403, If you look at the rules of procedure, we're going to go through that first because the change to the agenda will reflect these if we adopt it. The proposed one shows under Rule 2, where it's yellow, under the work session, we have added number F, Board Approved Agreement Renewals. Now what that is that is a notification to the Board of agreements that are up for renewal that we, as a board, initially approved, such as behavioral health, county fair, etc. Does not include agreements like lawn mowing and things like that, the administration takes care of itself. So, and you will see when we get to the actual policy that we are asking those to be brought up 2 months before the renewal date. So if we don't want to renew them, we have enough time to discuss them and make a decision before the actual renewal date. That would become number F under work session agenda. Special committee reports. This would be the reports that would be talked about at the work session. These are special committee ad hoc committees. These would not be standing committees like the policy committee, like the budget committee, like the executive committee. Those would remain in our normal business meeting. So, and you will see under Rule 3, it says business agenda. If you look at page 2 of that, you'll see where the standing committee reports are there, the budget committee, information budget amendments. So those are the actual changes to our rules of procedure that will take place. Then there will be no other changes to the rules of procedure. Then if you go to the agenda, the actual policy 1.403, lines 19 and 20 will be added to say, board generated and approved agreement contract MOUs need to be placed on the work session 2 months prior to being placed on the business agenda, if they're going to be placed on the business agenda, for example, fair lease, mental health, architect, etc. So, with that in mind, I would move that we consider these on first reading.
And that's just 1.403.
Yes.
All right, motion's been made to approve 1.403 on first reading. It's coming from a committee, so it doesn't need a second. Is there any discussion on any of that? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of approving 1.403 on first reading, show by raising your right hand. All right, that'd be 6-4-0 against. That one passes on first reading.
We will be bringing all of these back up for the second reading. The next one is policy 4.100, instructional program. What we have done is we have added language that makes this policy compliant with the anti-discrimination law that is now in effect in the state. So what it would do, this would omit the section of line 2 in the existing proposal, that beginning with the word discrimination and ending with the word facility in line 5, and change it to read, this includes discrimination based on any religious belief or non-belief, such as anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, or other forms of religious intolerance. For purposes of this policy, anti-Semitism is defined per state law. So that would be our change to that. So I would move as chairman to have this considered on first reading.
All right. Doug's moved to approve 4.100 on first reading. Once again, that needs a second. Is there any discussion or questions on this? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of approving 4.100 on first reading, show by raising your right hand. All right, 6-4-0 against. Passes.
The next change would be to policy 5.3 5.302. If you turn to page 2, there is a change in the yellow in area. What it does, this changes sick leave exit options as an incentive for teachers to maintain consistent and regular attendance and thereby improve the quality and consistency of instruction. Board shall offer a financial incentive. You will see the number 50 marked out, and insert $100 per day for accumulated sick leave. What this does is this places us on a equitable basis with surrounding counties. At this point, we are the lowest virtually of any contiguous counties. Some offer as much as 130, most offer 100. This just brings us into compliance so that we can compete on an equal basis with surrounding counties. And this was asked to be looked at by Dr. Arnold. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, those made the move to approve 5.302 on first reading. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving 5.302 on first reading, show by raising your right hand. 6-4-0 against, it passes.
Okay, the next policy that will be modified is policy 5.602, staff time schedules. You will see on the first page in yellow the words "with a minimum each day of 30 minutes" struck and nothing added. That will be stricken completely. What teachers have 2.5 hours of this, I don't know what you call it, discretionary time, personal time, prep time a week, all right? And this policy requires them, it says, let's see, group or individual planning or extracurricular activities may require hours beyond the stated minimum. Teachers should be allotted a duty-free planning period of 2.5 hours each week with a minimum each day of 30 minutes. We're striking that because Dr. Arnold said most teachers, they said as soon as we sit down and open our books, our time is over. So what he would like to do is leave the 2.5 hours today, but have it negotiated between the principal and the teacher as to how much time they want, on what days they want it, up to 2.5 hours a week. So again, he was asked us to look at this. We voted that that's a good idea, and we are recommending this to the board for consideration on first reading. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Doug has moved to approve 5.602 on first reading. Any questions or discussion on that? All right, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving 5.602 on first reading, show by raising your right hand. 6-4-0 against, that one passes.
The next policy, 6.705, student social events. This was a policy brought to us by Commissioner Hardy. This has to do with allowing students with medical needs with a 504 plan and or individual educational plan shall be permitted but not required to have a parent guardian on the premise of these events to assist with medical needs. The director shall create a process to facilitate requests subject to the IEP goals. Again, we did discuss this, voted unanimously to adopt it and refer it to you on first reading. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Doug has moved to approve 6.705 on first reading. Is there any questions or discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving 6.705 on first reading, show by raising your right hand. 6-4-0 against.
And that completes our report.
All right, so those will all be up. The next one for second reading. All right, that brings us down to those.
Oh, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
one more thing I forgot to have to say. Our next policy meeting will be, as soon as I can get back to the business section here, on January 26th at 5:30 before the work session, Anybody who would like policies to be considered for review or omission or add new policies, please make sure to have those in writing to Rhonda by the end of business day on Wednesday, January 14th. Thank you.
All right. I don't believe we've got anything to report on the school board county commission meeting.
No.
Paul, you got anything on building and maintenance you wanna say, or?
No, we don't meet until January.
All right then. No unfinished business, so then that brings us down to the new business. On our docket here, we have the JCHS after-school Bible study called Rooted. We have the Talbot Elementary School Access Road Change Order, JCHS Curriculum Guide, the Rush Strong Small Gym Bleachers, and the ADA improvements at school facilities. And I believe it got sent out, but the director sent a little blurb about each of these, so if you didn't get that, I'll read that when it comes to the discussion point. But is there a move on number one for the JCHS after-school Bible study?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Doug has moved to approve after-school Bible study. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Got Paul on the second there. Doug, you got anything you want to say?
From what I understand from the email we got, this has been approved and encouraged by both the high school principal, Mr. Rogers, and Dr. Arnold. As far as I'm concerned, if they're fine with it, I'm fine with it.
Paul, you got anything? All right, well, that's what that's what I was gonna say. This has been both approved by the principal and the director. Does anybody else got anything? All right, then we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of approving the JCHS after-school Bible study program Rooted, show by raising your right hand. That'll be 6-4-0 against. That motion passes. Next one is the Talbot Elementary School Access Road Change Order. The director said that asked to consider this access road is described in the packet. Final amounts will come later, but we will use available funds that are already allocated for the project, which were already in the budget there. And he talked about this at the work session. So, is there a move on the elementary school access road change order?
So moved.
I've got Danny on that. I'll second that. To approve this. You got anything to say, Danny? I don't have much to say either. Anyone else? All right, all those in favor of approving the Talbot Elementary School Access Road Change Order, show by raising your right hand. All right, 6-4-0 against. That motion passes. The curriculum guide, which was in your packet, lengthy, but hope you read through it and see all the great things that the high school is offering. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Okay, Coach, you got it? Got Doug seconded. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the JCHS 2026-2027 curriculum guide, show by raising your right hand. 6-4-0 against. That one passes. Brings us down to the Rush Strong Small Gym Bleachers. Is there any motions on this?
So moved.
And what's the,
What I'd like to do, I've talked to Tommy, we would like to roll this over to 2026. Maybe more money will roll in.
Capital improvement.
Capital improvements, because right now we really don't have the money set aside to do it. But capital improvements next year, hopefully we can get the bleachers put in.
I second that.
Alright, so what is the exact motion, to move this to capital improvements and
twenty twenty-six.
Alright. Capital improvements for 2026. It's seconded by Doug, and any discussion on that?
I believe on this, the cost will be determined down the road when we actually put it on capital improvements. Is that what you understand, Dan?
We've got a bid of about $74,000, but we may get it a little bit different. But I do want to put in capital improvements.
That's right.
Yes.
That makes sense. Any other discussion? All right, then, all those in favor of, putting the Rush Strong Small Gym bleachers on the capital improvements list for 2026, show by raising your right hand. All right, there'll be 6-4-0 against, that motion passes. And then it brings us down to the, number 5, ADA improvements at school facilities.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
All right,
I'd like to move $250,000 from the fund balance into an account for the ADA improvements.
is there a second on that? I'll second that then. Let's see. Now, the motion is to move $250,000 from the fund balance into an account for ADA improvements. And Paul, you got anything you want to say about it? I know you spoke about it a little bit at the,
Yeah, I just said we have some needs, and I'm not saying inside facilities, but playgrounds or access to football fields, softball fields, things like that, that I think that we could improve for the people that have mobility issues getting to them. I think this is just a good way of having that money already set aside for it to be used when there's a need. And, I think that we need to stay aware and keep up with, taking care of the people that want to come and see whether it be a football game, whether it be a parent, a sibling. I think they have equal rights to be able to get there and see it just like anybody else. And like I said, we don't know who's going to come into our school system tomorrow and what kind of improvements we may need to do with the school just to make it a little more accessible. So I think that this would be good just to kind of account for that. At the end of the year, if there's no money in there, it just goes back into our general fund.
all right, I believe you said something about, this wasn't just for one school, it's for, if there any of them.
Yes, this is for any school. This is not just for one school. I know there's a need already happening at one school. But this could be, tomorrow we could have another student that moves in, or there may be another need somewhere else. And I think this would be a good opportunity to make sure that we have a little, set of money aside for, in case we need to improve on something, whether it be getting to a playground, working on concrete, whatever it needs to be.
Any other discussion?
So I believe this would be pretty much just earmarking money, the same as we did for Danny's playground maintenance program, so that when we find a need, the money's there, we don't have to worry about doing it, at that time. We can go ahead, get bids, and be done with it.
That is correct.
Any other discussion? Yes.
I just want for clarification, are you wanting it just moved to a reserve? And then when you need the money, we'll move it to the budget? Or are you wanting us to go ahead and put it on a budgeted line that we have access to immediately?
I guess probably, put it on reserve.
And then when you come up with a project, we'll do a budget amendment and you'll move it from that reserve?
That's fine, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
All right. Anything else on that? All right, all those for the move to move $250,000 from the fund balance into an account, which will be a reserve account for the ADA improvements, show by raising your right hand. All right, that's 6-4-0 against, that motion passes. Thank you for bringing that forward. Oh, then, you need this, Ron?
Yes.
Alright, then that brings us to, budget amendments. We've got 4. Is there a motion on General Fund 141, number 8, items 1 through 9?
So moved.
I hear Danny on that one. Dawn second. Any discussion on this budget amendment? All right, all those in favor of approving General Fund 141, number 8, item 1 through 9, budget amendment, show by raising your right hand. All right, 6-0, motion passes. Next one is General Fund 141, number 9, items 1 through 2. Is there a move on this one?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Move. Paul second. Any discussion on this one? All right, all those in favor of approving budget amendment for General Fund 141, number 9, items 1 through 2, show by raising your right hand. All right, we got all opposed? Oh, the coach is on us. He's reading. 6-4-0 again.
Moving too fast.
And then the next one there is gonna be, Federal Fund 142, number 4. Items 1 through 2, is there a move on this one?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Doug, I'll second it. Discussion on this one? All right then, all those in favor of approving budget amendment for Federal Fund 142, number 4, items 1 through 2, show by raising your right hand. Got a coach on that one this time? Thank you.
Oh, I have.
6-0, that one passes. Last one is student nutrition 143, item number 1. I'll make a move to approve that one. Is there a second?
Second.
Paul was a second there. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving the budget amendment for student nutrition 143, item number 1, show by raising your right hand. All right, that's 6-4-0 against. That budget amendment passes. That takes us down to school commissioner input. Any input?
Mr. Chairman, I kind of, on the further work session, I'd like to put, I've had experience myself, I've had a lot of comments from people that our district website is the most difficult thing to navigate in the world. People are going on there to look, for example, there's a winter concert coming up that I believe is given by the band at the high school. Somebody was looking on the website, so they spent half an hour looking for this thing on there. I couldn't find it. So I would like to, I don't have any specific thing, but I'd like to begin discussion on maybe looking at the website and make it a little bit more user friendly.
All right. Anything else? All right. I believe, I failed to mention this, but, Bill Jarnigan's sister-in-law passed away, so let's remember that family. I believe that's where he's at tonight, the receiving of the friends. All right, announcements. I think we got most of them out of the way. Anything else? All right, is there a move to adjourn?
So moved.
I heard Danny on that one, I guess I'll